Ab وورد ومنفس قدوس أدوامنا آمين بسم آب وورد ومنفس قدوس أدوامنا آمين بسم آب وورد ومنفس قدوس أدوامنا آمين. Good morning and blessings and love, and hope you have a good start to the week this Monday. So straight in with the reading, Numbers 25. Give thanks. Israel stayed in Shittim, and the people began to play the prostitute with the daughters of Moab, for they called the people to the sacrifices of their gods. The people ate and bowed down to their gods. Israel joined himself to Baal-Peor, and Yahweh's anger burned against Israel. Yahweh said to Moses, "Take all the chiefs of the people and hang them up to Yahweh before the sun, that the fierce anger of Yahweh may turn away from Israel." Moses said to the judges of Israel, "Everyone kill his men who have joined themselves to Baal-Peor." Behold, one of the children of Israel came and brought his brothers a Midianite woman in the sight of Moses, and in the sight of all the congregation of the children of Israel, while they were weeping at the door of the tent of the meeting. When Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, saw it, he rose up from the middle of the congregation and took a spear in his hand. He went after the man of Israel into the pavilion and thrust both of them through, the man of Israel and the woman through her body. So the plague was stopped among the children of Israel. Those who died by the plague were 24,000. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, "Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, has turned my wrath away from the children of Israel, in that he was jealous with my jealousy among them, so that I didn't consume the children of Israel with my jealousy. Therefore say, Behold, I give to him my covenant of peace. It shall be to him and to his offspring after him the covenant of an everlasting priesthood, because he was jealous of his God and made atonement for the children of Israel." Now the name of the man of Israel that was slain, who was slain with the Midianite woman, was Zimri, the son of Salu, the prince of a father's house among the Simeonites. The name of the Midianite woman who was slain was Cosbi, the daughter of Zer. He was head of the people of the father's house in Midian. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, "Harass the Midianites and strike them, for they harassed you with their wives, wherein they have deceived you in a matter of Peor, and in the incident regarding Cosbi, the daughter of the prince of Midian, their sister, who was slain on the day of the plague in the matter of Peor." For these few words I give thanks, blessed love. So yeah, here we have a short chapter, and often with the short chapters we've seen they're often full with stuff going on, and as we say, they're often short for a reason. So what we have in this chapter is a moment where Israel is overrun with sexual immorality. The men of the children of Israel are fornicating with the women of Moab and Midian, and God is extremely jealous when he sees this. One, not just because of the sexual sin that's happening and the infidelity that he's seeing going on, but also because the men are also then worshipping the gods of Moab and Midian in the form of Baal-Peor. So this has really angered God to the extent where he asked for all the men and the leaders of the men in those tribes to be executed before the children of Israel to satisfy his jealousy. So Moses starts to put this in action, and everyone kill his men who have joined themselves to Baal-Peor, it says. So when certain men are coming forward, and also then the women who came from Midian and Moab come forward to face their judgment, there's a particular person in the crowd called Phinehas, and Phinehas is the grandson of Aaron the priest. He takes it upon himself to take on a vigilante act, essentially, and he kills the man and the woman with his spear. And God is pleased by this, because he says that you have taken on the jealousy of your God in a way away from me, and actually what it's done is stopped me from putting my full vengeance on the children of Israel. And it's not only this, in terms of the execution, there's also a plague that happens in the land of Israel because of these fornications and these improprieties. Disease has started to spread. And as it says here, where is it? That it's 20, is it 20? Yeah, 24,000. Those who died by the plague were 24,000. So the children of Israel had been extremely punished for their immorality and their weakness in the face of temptation, in the form of 24,000 died from sin, and also the executions that have happened in punishment to their sin. What we have here is there's an underlying subtext that I'm going to give away. It is a spoiler, but in Numbers 31, so this is currently 25, in Numbers 31, the name Balaam reappears. It might have reappeared before this, but what we find out in Numbers 31 is that Balaam is actually the person responsible for these women from Moab going into Israel, because as it transpires that Balaam spoke to Balak behind the scenes and saying that one way to break Israel's will is to make them face this form of temptation. So if you remember in the preceding chapters, we saw Balaam in a bit of a tightrope situation. You know, we are only shown that he's staying true to God, and he only speaks what he wants God to see. But actually, the subtext of those preceding chapters were that Balak is still tempting him, and he's continuing to keep Balak on side. And God is also keeping a very watchful eye on Balaam. And this is precisely the reason why. So behind the scenes, Balak is told by Balaam, send in your women into Israel and let them basically tempt the children of Israel into these sexual improprieties. So this is now what's transcribed in chapter 25. What's also important to remember is that even though Balaam suggested this to Balak, and the women from Moab went into Israel to tempt the men, that actually those men are still responsible for their actions. There's only so much that Balaam did in terms of making that suggestion and the women going in, but the men still had free will. And this is why God is extremely angry. So the form of plague and also execution was the punishment for the children of Israel, that they are not without blame themselves and they are still responsible for their actions. And even though the women went in to tempt them, they didn't have to be so weak as to fall for those temptations. So Balaam's judgment comes later, and he does get a judgment. And this is why in the book of Kings and in other spaces later on in the Bible, Balaam is shown up to be a false prophet and a teacher who is leading people astray. He's saying one thing and doing another, and being very wily and being very duplicitous with deception of his position as a prophet. So there's lots of moral lessons in here in terms of caution. You know, when you are faced with temptation, where is that temptation coming from? Has it been planted by certain individuals that wanting to see your downfall, or certain communities' downfall, etc. But also it's the importance that you know that you've got a choice in that situation. Regardless of the temptation that's been put in front of you, actually you have the duty, the moral choice to say yes or no. And if you choose to say yes, then you face the consequences of your own weakness, if you like. So, yeah, there's a huge amount going on. As I say, I've kind of given away a spoiler because it doesn't mention Balaam directly here. But I think in the nature of how the chapters are being read, a chapter a day, and the reasonings, and do you know what I mean? I think to make sense of this chapter, it is important for me to mention Balaam and the fact that he is implicated in this chapter, even though that's not revealed until a few chapters down the line. So yeah, a huge amount going on. I think the lessons are very clear and very stark. Again, we are seeing the jealousy of God and that wrathful jealousy of God, and there's no this is what it is. There's no kind of apology for that. This is what it is, and this was how God chose to be operating in that time. So yeah, I'll leave it there. I think there's so many different threads on here that can be pulled further, but I think the lessons are very clear and very direct, but lots more to meditate on. So yeah, blessed love, give thanks. That was a powerful, punchy chapter for the start of the week. But as with all these things, they're for meditating on, contemplating on, and finding our path with the ambition that is going to be pleasing in the sight of the Most High. Blessed love.